Hello, my name is Pastor Kris Kollar. I'm the pastor of Pleasant Valley Lutheran Church near Malabar Farm and St. Paul Lutheran Church in Lucas, Ohio. Greetings. We are reading through the Bible with commentary. We have gotten through the first 7 books, and we are in the 8th book of the Bible. The first 5 books, the Torah, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, tell the story of how the Israelite people came to be. Then we get into Joshua as the people settle into their promised land, and Judges as things go from not great to really not good. The course of the book of Judges just shows Israel did not have a king and did not follow God and was just kind of a hot mess. And then we get to this lovely book, the book of Ruth. Has 4 chapters. We heard the 2 of them on our last session, and we have 2 of them today. What we heard in our story yesterday, and it starts out back in the day, back in the time when there was no king and everybody did things the way that they wanted to do. Back in those days, there was a woman named Naomi who was married to Elimelech. They went off to Moab because of a famine, and had 2 sons who married girls from Moab. Husband died, the 2 sons died. Naomi decides she's going to head back to Bethlehem, and the 2 girls from Moab, one says, okay, I'll go home. The other one, Ruth, says, nope, where you go, I go. Your people are my people. Your God is my God. Where you die, I die. And then Naomi's like, well, since she's determined. So they get back to Bethlehem. Naomi says, don't call me pleasant, call me Mara, which means bitter. And Ruth says, I'm going to go out and glean. So we had read back in the laws that when you harvested your crops, you weren't supposed to get every single piece of grain, leave some behind for the poor. So she can go and glean. So she goes to a field, and lo and behold, it's their rich relative Boaz. And he is kind and generous and says, stay with my girls, stay with my people, come here, here's some lunch, here's some water. So she is being quite successful in gleaning, and is gleaned all the way through the barley harvest and the wheat harvest. So that's yesterday, or the last session. Now we're picking up on chapter 3. Naomi, her mother-in-law, said to her, that is to Ruth, my daughter, I need to seek some security for you so that it may be well with you. So women at this time, there's no social security, there's no food assistance, there's the family, and so you need to be attached to a man, either your father, your husband, your brother, maybe your son. So it's very important for women to have children, because your children are your social security. They are the ones who will take care of you when your husband dies and your dad is dead. Your son has now got you and is supposed to take care of you. And here's Naomi, who has none of those. So she wants Ruth to have at least some of that. So it's time for you to find and be attached to a man. Verse 2, now here is our kinsman Boaz, with whose young woman you have been working. See, he's winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. So a threshing floor, I don't know, for some reason when I was younger and I would read through the Bible, I'm not sure, I pictured like basically a barn, like the middle part of an old-fashioned barn. But a threshing floor is actually much, much larger than that. It's more like the size of the whole barn, actually. It's a big, large, flat area, very packed down, and designed that you literally would just throw all the grain with all the stalks and the grains at the top, and a animal would pull a threshing sledge, which was a very heavy, like a sled, with sharp things at the bottom, like little knives. And they wanted to put a lot of weight on the threshing sledge, so at least a person would ride the sledge and guide the animal in circles and figure eights around this threshing floor, which is more like a big open area. And of course, it was the kind of thing that the kids would pile on to ride the threshing sledge. Like I would ride a hay wagon when I was a kid, not for fun, but just because we had to do the hay. But then going back, of course, it's fun just to sit on the wagon and to ride the wagon. So threshing sledge would be piled with at least the person that's steering the animal, but possibly a bunch of kids winnowing in a threshing floor. And it would have been a celebratory time, lots of people. The harvest is done, and now we're going to break apart and get the grain off of the stalks and figure out how to store it. So he's down winnowing at the threshing floor. Verse 3, now wash and anoint yourself and put on your best clothes and go down to the threshing floor. But do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, observe the place where he lies. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down, and he will tell you what to do. She said to her, all that you tell me, I will do. So commentators like to make lots of comments about, what does uncover his feet mean? Is this a euphemism? What exactly is she up to? I disagree with some of that. Verse 6, she went down to the threshing floor and did just as her mother-in-law had instructed her. When Boaz had eaten and drunk, and he was in a contented mood, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain. Then she came stealthily and uncovered his feet and lay down. At midnight the man was startled and turned over, and there, lying at his feet, was a woman. So I do not think that uncovered his feet is a euphemism for some kind of relations that they're having, because he wakes up startled and says, oh, there's a woman there. So they can have an illusion perhaps, and they can make jokes about it, but the reality is the story says that he was startled. He said, who are you? And she answered, I am Ruth, your servant. Spread your cloak over your servant, for you are next to kin. So spread your cloak also potentially was a euphemism. At the very least, it's almost like a marriage proposal, saying, hey, you are the person who can buy property and redeem the property. You are the next of kin, and here I am, and I need your protection. So is it a marriage proposal? Maybe. Is it a overt, absolute request for protection? Yes, it is. And clearly he understands what she means. He said, may you be blessed by the Lord, my daughter. This last instance of your loyalty is better than the first. You have not gone after young men, whether poor or rich. And now, my daughter, do not be afraid. I will do for you all that you ask, for all the assembly of my people know that you are a worthy woman. So when he calls her my daughter, that doesn't mean that he's her dad, obviously not. And it also does not mean necessarily that she is super, super young, but she is a woman, and she is a young woman, and apparently he is not a young man. He is established and quite wealthy and knows the whole situation. Because, he says, verse 12, but now, though it is true that I am a near kinsman, there is another kinsman more closely related than I. Remain this night, and in the morning, if he will act as next of kin for you, good, let him do it. If he is not willing to act as next of kin for you, then as the Lord lives, I will act as next of kin for you. Lie down until the morning. And there's lots of footnotes here that every place it says next of kin or near kinsman, the word they're using actually is redeemer. The book of Ruth has this huge theme of redemption, and redemption is a combination of a couple of things. It's like if you've got a bunch of coupons and you can redeem them and get something, or you can, there's in this particular case, there is a piece of property and you have the right to buy it, but also to have Ruth. Verse 14, so she lay at his feet until morning, but got up before one person could recognize another, for he said it must not be known that the woman came to the threshing floor. So he doesn't want anybody to know that she was there. It might be bad for her reputation. And I really don't think there's any kind of sexual overtones here. I think, he woke up startled and said, who are you? And so I think she was quite above board, but it is, how do you go meet somebody like that? You can't go talk to them in public and everybody would see it. Verse 15, then he said, bring the cloak you are wearing and hold it out. So she held it, and he measured out 6 measures of barley and put it on her back. Then he went into the city. She came to her mother-in-law, who said, how did things go with you, my daughter? Then she told her all the man had done for her, saying, he gave me these 6 measures of barley, for he said, do not go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed. She replied, wait, my daughter, until you learn how the matter turns out, for the man will not rest, but will settle the matter today. chapter 4. No sooner had Boaz gone up to the gate and sat down there than the next of kin whom Boaz had spoken came passing by. And again, next of kin is actually the Redeemer. Business took place in the city gate. It's like the town hall, and so you sit there, and other people come in, go out, and everybody can talk and pass the time, pass the news, and witness things. So Boaz said, "Come over, friend, sit down here." And he went over and sat down. Then Boaz took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, "Sit down here." So they sat down. So there are witnesses. He said to the next of kin, "Naomi, who has come back from the country of Moab, is selling the parcel of land that belonged to her kinsman Elimelech. So I thought I would tell you of it and say, buy it in the presence of those sitting here and in the presence of the elders of my people. If you will redeem it, but if you will not, tell me, so that I may know, for there is no one prior to you to redeem it, and I come after you." So there's a piece of property, but as we read in Deuteronomy and other law during the Torah, if there's a piece of property, if you want to keep it within the clan and you want to keep it within the family, you want it to not go off to some other family or clan or tribe. So you have first rights. You're the closest relative if you want to buy this piece of property. So he said, "I will redeem it." Verse 5, Then Boaz said, "The day you acquire the field from the hand of Naomi, you are also acquiring Ruth the Moabite, the widow of the dead man, to maintain the dead man's name on his inheritance." At this, the next of kin said, "I cannot redeem it for myself without damaging my own inheritance. Take my right of redemption for yourself, for I cannot redeem it." I think I did not. I thought I missed a line, but I did not miss a line. So, verse 7. Now this was the custom in former times in Israel concerning redeeming and exchanging. To confirm a transaction, one took off a sandal and gave it to the other. This was the manner of attesting in Israel. So when the next of kin said to Boaz, "Acquire it for yourself," he took off his sandal. Then Boaz said to the elders and all the people, "Today you are witnesses that I have acquired from the hand of Naomi all that belonged to Elimelech and all that belonged to Chilion and Mahlon. I have also acquired Ruth, the Moabite, the wife of Mahlon, to be my wife, to maintain the dead man's name on his inheritance, in order that the name of the dead may not be cut off from his kindred and from the gate of his native place. Today you are witnesses." So from the gate, from the town hall, and there was the law that says if a brother, if a guy dies, and the wife then is supposed to be given sons for the dead by the brother. The brother is supposed to take the wife in and give her children, and that first child is in the name of the brother to be the inheritor and keep the line going. In this particular case, it's not a dead husband that needed to, he's not exactly the marriage redeemer, but he kind of is. Mostly he's talking about the inheritance itself. The property is going to stay in the family, and it's going to stay in the name of Elimelech and his son Mahlon. Boaz is going to maintain it in that line. Verse 11, Then all the people who were at the gate, along with the elders, said, "We are witnesses. May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your house like Rachel and Leah, who together built up the house of Israel. May you produce children in Ephrathah," that's another name for Bethlehem, "and bestow a name in Bethlehem." So it's a little bit of poetic. You say it the one way and then you say it the other way. "And through the children that the Lord will give you by this young woman, may your house be like the house of Perez, who Tamar bore to Judah," because they're in Bethlehem, which is in the land of Judah. Verse 13, So Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife. When they came together, the Lord made her conceive, and she bore a son. Then the women said to Naomi, "Blessed be the Lord, who has not left you this day without next of kin, and may his name be renowned in Israel. He shall be to you a restorer of life and a nourisher of your old age. For your daughter-in-law, who loves you, and who is more to you than 7 sons, has borne him." So You've lost your sons, but your beautiful daughter-in-law has given you a new son, a grandson. Verse 16, then Naomi took the child and laid him in her bosom and became his nurse. The women of the neighborhood gave him a name, saying, a son has been born to Naomi. They named him Obed. He became the father of Jesse, the father of David. Now these are the descendants of Perez. Perez became the father of Hezron, Hezron of Ram, Ram of Abinadab, Abinadab of Nahshon, Nahshon of Salmon, Salmon of Boaz, and Boaz of Obed, Obed of Jesse, and Jesse of David. Scholars think that possibly they're skipping a few generations in there because the book of Judges covers quite a few territory. But the key thing is that they are of the tribe of Judah. And the other cool thing is that here is this person from Moab, which it said, you are not supposed to have Moab, anybody from Moab be part of your community. And not only is she part of the community, she is the, I'm going to get it wrong, great-grandma of David. Her son, Obed, grandson Jesse, she is the great-grandmother of David, who becomes King David. So this wonderful, fun, lovely, short book in the Bible, the book of Ruth, talking about how being faithful, being willing to do whatever to stay with their mother-in-law, being very faithful to follow God. And as we were saying in the last session, kind of this wonderful voice. Like here is so much of the Old Testament. Oh, people from Moab, they're awful. You can never marry them. You must be pure. You must keep every law, and you must keep totally racially pure. At the same time, the Bible has the book of Ruth and other books like it that show people from Moab as part of the lineage of King David, and Rahab, who was a Canaanite, and others who are not Israelite, but who choose to follow God, who are faithful, who are loyal, who are all of these wonderful good traits. And so the Bible contains these voices, and the different voices within the Bible, yes, they're all from God, but God speaks through different voices throughout the Bible. And now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord look at you with favor and give you peace. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Like, subscribe, comment, and we will see you again next time.